Angels say stop scrolling. This message is not random. It found you because God is protecting you from something you don't see. Right now, even as you listen, there is a shield around your life. You may feel confused. You may feel delayed. You may feel like doors are closing instead of opening. But heaven says, those closed doors are protection, not punishment. Angels are watching over you in ways your eyes cannot perceive. God is blocking paths you begged him to open because he already saw what would have hurt you. And if you've been asking yourself lately, why didn't that work out? Why did they walk away? Why did everything change so suddenly? This message is your answer. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you will understand what God has been quietly protecting you from and why this season of waiting is actually saving your destiny. Angels say, nothing about this moment is accidental. You didn't stumble onto this message. You were guided here. There are unseen battles happening behind the scenes of your life battles. You were never meant to fight yourself. So God stepped in. He rearranged people. He delayed timing. He disrupted plans. Not to hurt you, but to protect you. There are dangers God removes before they reach you. There are betrayals he blocks before they break your heart. There are losses he allows, so you won't experience a far greater one later. You see disappointment. God sees deliverance. You see rejection. God sees rescue. There was something you wanted so badly. A person, a job, a situation, a plan, and you prayed for it. You envisioned it. You prepared for it. But it didn't happen. And for a while, it felt like God was silent. Angels say he wasn't silent, he was shielding you. Because what you couldn't see was the hidden cost, the spiritual consequences, the emotional damage, the long-term pain. God saw what that path would have done to your peace, your faith, your future. So he said no, even when you begged for yes. Protection doesn't always look like safety. Sometimes protection looks like a delay that frustrates you, a breakup that breaks you, a missed opportunity that confuses you, a closed door that hurts your pride. But angels say, God protects differently than humans expect. He protects your soul before your comfort. He protects your destiny before your desires. He protects your future before your feelings. Right now, heaven is saying, trust what you didn't understand, because what didn't work out was never meant to stay. Have you noticed this? Lately, you may have felt emotionally tired without knowing why, spiritually alert but mentally confused, pulled away from certain people or places, less tolerant of things you once accepted. Angels say that's discernment awakening. God is sharpening your spiritual senses. He's removing blind spots. He's helping you sense danger before it shows itself. You're not becoming distant. You're becoming protected. You're not losing people. You're being separated from what no longer aligns with where God is taking you. There were conversations happening behind your back, intentions that were not pure, plans that didn't include your best interest. But angels say you were covered. God intercepted things you never even knew existed. He rerouted events at the last second. He caused delays that saved you from regret. And one day soon you'll look back and say, thank God that didn't work out. Thank God I didn't go there. Thank God they left. What felt like loss will reveal itself as divine protection. If your spirit feels stirred right now, if your heart feels calm but emotional, if something inside you is whispering, this is for me, angels say that's confirmation. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are being guarded. And what God is protecting you from is something that would have cost you far more than you realize. If God is protecting you, it won't always feel gentle. Sometimes it feels uncomfortable. Sometimes it feels confusing. Sometimes it feels like everything is falling apart. But heaven wants you to know. Protection often arrives disguised as disruption. Right now, there are clear signs around you, subtle but powerful, that God is actively guarding your life. Let's reveal them. Have you noticed this? Just when something seems finalized, just when you think this is it, it suddenly collapses. The deal falls through. The relationship changes overnight. The opportunity disappears without explanation. Angels say that's divine interruption. God steps in at the last possible moment, because that's when the danger is closest. You see frustration. He sees prevention. What looks like bad timing is actually perfect timing, because if it had gone any further, it would have cost you peace, safety, or purpose. This one hurts the most. People you trusted. People you invested in. People you thought would stay. Suddenly, they change. They distance themselves. Or God exposes their true intentions. Angels say, God removes people before they destroy you. Not everyone who walks with you is meant to walk with you forever. Some people are assignments. Some are lessons. Some are warnings in human form. God sees what you can't. Envy hiding behind smiles. Manipulation hiding behind affection. Self-interest hiding behind loyalty. So he separates you not to isolate you, but to protect your heart and destiny. Have you felt it? Things that once felt okay now feel wrong. Conversations feel empty. Places feel heavy. Routines feel draining. Angels say that's spiritual alertness. God is making you uncomfortable because comfort would keep you exposed. He's pulling you out quietly before something harmful locks you in. Restlessness is not rebellion. It's divine warning. You hear it in sermons. You see it in messages like this. You feel it during prayer. You sense it in your spirit. Angels say, repetition is heaven's way of protecting you. God repeats what matters most. If you keep hearing, wait, let go, trust me, not yet, it's because something you don't see requires patience. God is shielding you from rushing into what looks good but isn't safe. You don't crave the same things anymore. You're less interested in proving yourself, impressing others, chasing attention. Instead, you desire peace, truth, stability, purpose. Angels say that's divine refinement. God is aligning your desires with your destiny, so you won't be tempted by things that could harm you later. What no longer excites you no longer controls you. That's protection. You might wonder, if God is protecting me, why does he just tell me what's happening? Angels say, because knowing everything would overwhelm you. Some truths are revealed after protection, not before. If God showed you what that person planned, what that opportunity would have led to, what that decision would have cost, it would have broken your heart. So he shields you with mystery. Silence isn't absence. Silence is coverage. Right now, angels are assigned to your steps. God is monitoring what approaches you. Delays are placed strategically. Doors are opening quietly in safer directions. You are not wandering aimlessly. You are being escorted. Even your confusion is temporary. Even your pain is filtered. Nothing reaches you without passing through God's hands first. Angels say, some of the greatest miracles in your life are the things that never happened. You prayed for outcomes you didn't receive. You waited for answers that never came. You stood at doors that never opened. And at the time, it felt painful. But heaven says, those were not denials, those were rescues. There was someone you were drawn to. The connection felt intense. The emotions felt real. But angels say, not every intense connection is divine. Some people come with hidden intentions. Some carry unresolved wounds that would have bled into your life. Some were meant to take from you, not grow with you. God saw the emotional exhaustion ahead, the confusion, the cycles of hope and disappointment. So he intervened. Even though it hurt, God pulled you away before the damage became permanent. You were ready. You felt prepared. You wanted to move forward. But the timing never aligned. Delays showed up. Resources fell short. Clarity didn't come. Angels say timing is protection. Had you moved forward too soon, you would have faced unnecessary struggles. God didn't stop you because you were unqualified. He stopped you because the environment wasn't ready for you yet. Sometimes God waits until you're stronger, you're wiser, you're less vulnerable. Then he releases what he promised. There were voices that questioned your worth, situations that made you doubt yourself, moments that made you feel not enough. Angels say, God removed those environments to preserve your identity. If you had stayed, you would have shrunk to fit their expectations. You would have dimmed your light. You would have compromised who you are. God didn't just protect your future. He protected your self-belief. You may ask, if God was protecting me, why did it hurt so much? Angels say, because growth and protection often share the same doorway. Pain is not proof of punishment. Pain is often proof of transition. You felt the separation because you were deeply invested. But heaven says, what was meant to stay wouldn't require you to lose yourself. It would have looked successful. Others would have applauded. People would have said, you're lucky. But angels say it would have cost you peace. God doesn't bless what drains your soul. He protects you from hollow achievements, relationships built on image, paths driven by pressure instead of purpose. God cares more about your becoming than your appearance. There were moments God intervened quietly. A thought that stopped you from going somewhere. A delay that caused you to miss something. A sudden feeling that made you pause. Those weren't coincidences. Angels were guiding your steps. Heaven was whispering, not this way. And because you listened, even without realizing it, you were kept safe. During your hardest moments, you may have felt abandoned. But angels say, that's when you were most guarded. God draws closer when danger is near. Protection increases in silent seasons. What felt like distance was actually covering. Angels say, if God's protection feels stronger right now, it's because you are closer than you think. Closer to breakthrough. Closer to clarity. Closer to a season that requires greater guarding. Protection always increases before promotion. Heaven wants you to know this clearly. God does not heavily protect what is insignificant. The reason distractions are being removed. The reason doors are closing faster. The reason certain people can no longer access you is because your next season carries weight. Angels say, what God is preparing to release in your life would be vulnerable to interference. So he is securing you first. You may have noticed more emotional resistance, stronger doubts than usual, unexpected spiritual fatigue. Angels say that's not weakness, that's proximity. Opposition increases when purpose is near. God doesn't protect randomly. He protects intentionally, especially when something valuable is about to unfold. You're not being targeted because you're failing. You're being guarded because you're chosen. Before God changes your circumstances, He secures your inner world. He removes chaos. He silences unnecessary voices. He strips away distractions. Angels say, peace is not the reward, it's the foundation. What God is about to give you requires emotional stability, spiritual discernment, inner confidence, so He protects your peace first. You may feel urged to slow down, to wait, to observe. Angels say, stillness is strategic. When God tells you to pause, it's not delay, it's alignment. He is positioning you away from harm, away from manipulation, away from premature decisions. Silence is where God strengthens protection. You might think, I've lost so much. So many things didn't work out. But angels say, nothing essential has been lost. What left was allowed to leave. What stayed was meant to remain. What's coming is protected. God preserves what He plans to use. There are seasons when God hides His people, not to punish them, but to prepare them. Angels say, you are hidden from envy, hidden from premature exposure, hidden from people who would misuse access to you. This is not obscurity. This is covering. God does not keep you in shelter forever. Protection seasons end with release. What's coming will feel safer, clearer, more aligned, more peaceful, because it was protected before it arrived. Angels say, stop questioning what God removed. Stop revisiting what He blocked. Stop mourning what didn't happen. Trust the protection. You were spared for a reason. You were delayed for a reason. You were redirected for a reason. And soon, that reason will make sense. Angels say, God does not protect you without purpose. Every delay, every redirection, every closed door, they were all preparing the ground for something better. What is coming is not random. It is intentional, and it is safe. You've asked God for growth, for elevation, for change. Angels say, what's coming will not overwhelm you the way previous seasons might have. God learned you through the process. He shaped you in the waiting. He strengthened you in the silence. So now the blessing matches your capacity. This time, you won't lose yourself. You won't compromise your peace. You won't need to force anything. What God is bringing will fit. God never adds without first removing what could interfere. Angels say, you had to release the old version of yourself. The version that settled for less, needed external validation, confused intensity with love. The blessing ahead requires discernment. And now you have it. When this blessing arrives, you'll notice something immediately. There's no anxiety, no chaos, no emotional confusion. Angels say, what comes from God brings clarity. You'll feel peace instead of pressure, confidence instead of fear, security instead of urgency. That's how you'll know. This one is protected too. You may have lost time, trust, hope, opportunities. Angels say, restoration doesn't repeat the past, it improves it. God doesn't return what hurt you. He returns what healed you. What's coming will feel familiar but elevated. Angels say, do not rush. Do not chase. Do not second guess. The next thing God brings will move toward you naturally. Your job is to remain aligned. Stay gentle with your spirit. Stay honest in prayer. Stay faithful in small things. Protection continues even during arrival. You might still feel unsure, still healing, still learning. Angels say, readiness isn't perfection, it's surrender. God doesn't wait until you feel confident. He moves when you trust Him enough to step forward. And you're closer than you realize. Angels say this clearly. Nothing meant for you will harm you. Nothing sent by God will confuse you. Nothing aligned with heaven will require you to lose peace. What's approaching your life is safe, timely, and covered. Angels say, protection is not just something God does for you. It is also something you must remain under. God has covered you, but staying covered requires awareness, alignment, and trust. This stage is crucial. One of the greatest protections God gives is discernment. Angels say, not everything that looks good is sent by God. Not every opportunity is an open door. Not every voice deserves access to your spirit. Pay attention to how things make you feel after you engage with them. If something steals your peace, clarity, or confidence, that's a warning, not a test. This is a serious message. Angels say, revisiting what God delivered you from removes protection. You were removed for a reason. That chapter closed for a reason. Nostalgia can be dangerous if it pulls you backward. Remember, God removed it because it could not go where you're going. Protection isn't maintained by strength, it's maintained by connection. Angels say, even short, honest prayers keep you aligned. You don't need perfect words. You need a sincere heart. Prayer keeps you sensitive. It keeps you alert. It keeps you guided. Not everyone deserves your story. Not everyone needs your plans. Not everyone should hear your fears. Angels say, privacy is protection. What God is growing in you must be guarded until it is strong enough to stand. Sometimes God will nudge you. Don't go there. Don't say that. Wait. Leave early. Angels say, those nudges are shields. Delayed obedience weakens protection. Quick obedience strengthens it. Trust the quiet instructions. Gratitude keeps your heart aligned. Angels say, when you focus on what God has already done, you stop chasing what could harm you. A thankful heart is a protected heart. Even when it feels quiet, even when answers are delayed. Angels say, you are surrounded. Heaven is watching your steps. God is directing your path. Angels are guarding what concerns you. Angels say, you don't need to stay on guard anymore. You've been protected. You are protected. And you will continue to be protected. Fear is no longer necessary. Fear often stays longer than danger. Angels say, your body remembers what your spirit has already healed from. That's why you hesitate, you overthink, you replay old scenarios. But God is asking you to rest now. Protection has done its work. Angels say this clearly. You are not on the verge of failure. You are not one step away from losing everything. Those thoughts are echoes, not warnings. God would interrupt you again if danger were ahead. Silence right now means safety. You don't lose protection because you feel weak. You don't lose coverage because you doubt sometimes. Angels say, God's protection is based on His faithfulness, not your perfection. You are not one mistake away from disaster. You are held. Being protected doesn't mean being tense. Angels say, constant alertness is not faith. God doesn't ask you to scan for danger. He asks you to trust him. Relax your shoulders. Breathe. Release the need to control outcomes. Protection doesn't require anxiety. As you step into what's next, you don't need to rush. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to look back. Angels say, forward is safe. What's behind you can no longer reach you. Right now, take a slow breath. Angels say, let your heart settle. Say quietly, I am protected. I am guided. I am safe. Let those words sink in. Peace is not laziness. Peace is not weakness. Angels say, peace is the sign that you're aligned. If peace is present, God is present. Angels say, protection doesn't just keep danger away. It changes you. When God covers someone long enough, their spirit begins to reflect that safety. And that's what's happening to you now. You may have noticed. You react less. You argue less. You don't feel the need to explain yourself. Angels say, that calm is a sign of security. You're no longer fighting for survival. You're living from trust. When God protects you, urgency disappears. You see things clearly now. You sense when something is off. You notice patterns earlier. You feel hesitation before danger appears. Angels say, that clarity is part of your protection. You don't need proof anymore. You trust your spirit. This is a big change. You don't beg. You don't force. You don't overextend. Angels say, self-respect is a result of divine protection. When God covers you, you stop settling. Some people may treat you differently, feel intimidated, pull away without explanation. Angels say, not everyone is comfortable around someone who is protected. Your peace exposes unrest. Your clarity reveals confusion. This is not rejection. This is alignment. What once confused you no longer works. You see through mixed signals, empty promises, emotional pressure. Angels say, protection sharpens wisdom, and wisdom changes how others interact with you. Fear used to guide your decisions. Now faith does. Angels say, this shift is everything. When God protects someone, He also teaches them how to trust again. You don't announce your moves. You don't seek validation. You don't compare your journey. Angels say, confidence doesn't need noise. What God is building in you speaks for itself. Angels say, everything God has protected you from, everything He has delayed, everything He has removed, was not random. It has been shaping your destiny. Your protection is preparing your purpose. Angels say, you're learning patience. You're learning discernment. You're learning that not every battle is yours to fight. Through protection, God is teaching you to recognize blessing, avoid unnecessary pain, value your peace above everything. This is not wasted time. This is sacred preparation. What you've been shielded from is now part of your testimony. Angels say, your testimony will encourage the broken, guide the confused, comfort the fearful, because God's protection is not just about saving you. It's about preparing you to impact others. Angels say, the doors God opens for you will affect more than your life. Your restored joy, your clarity, your peace. They will ripple outward. People will notice how calm you are in chaos, how confident you are in uncertainty, how unwavering your faith remains. This is God's design. Angels say, every closed door, every disappointment, every delay was a building block for a greater blessing. You didn't see it then. You may not see it now. But soon, the pattern will become clear. What once felt like loss will reveal itself as perfect alignment. Angels say, protection is strongest when coupled with faith. Faith keeps you patient, observant, aligned with God's timing. Faith also prepares your heart to receive what's coming without fear. Angels say, do not question what you cannot see. Do not fight the timing of your life. Do not compare your path to anyone else's. God is orchestrating your story perfectly, and His protection ensures that when your moment comes, you are ready, not rushed, not weakened, but empowered. Angels say, you are protected. You are guided. You are not alone. Everything you have experienced, every delay, every heartbreak, every closed door, was preparing you for a greater blessing. Say these words quietly or even aloud. I am protected by God and guided by angels. I trust the timing of my life. Everything that leaves me is replaced by what is meant for me. I am ready to receive the blessings prepared for me. Angels say, speaking your faith activates your protection and your blessings. Even when life feels uncertain, angels are surrounding you. God is directing your path. Protection is working behind the scenes. What you cannot see, heaven is handling. What you cannot feel, God is covering. Stay patient. Do not rush what God is orchestrating. Stay prayerful. Connect daily, even briefly, to keep alignment. Stay discerning. Keep your peace intact and your heart aware. Stay grateful. Gratitude keeps you spiritually grounded. Angels say, your obedience to these steps keeps you fully protected and prepares you to receive all that's coming. The protection you've experienced is not just for you. Angels say, your journey will become a testimony that encourages others. Your calm, your faith, and your clarity will shine as proof that God works in hidden ways. If this message resonated with your heart, like this video to affirm your faith and gratitude. Comment below and share what God has been protecting you from your story could inspire others. Subscribe to the channel for more messages from angels that remind you God is always working behind the scenes, even when you cannot see it. Angels say, sharing these messages amplifies divine encouragement. Your interaction allows heaven to reach more hearts.